Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? Yes. You are knowing what you are wanting. It is co-creating at its best, truly. You are appreciating your leading edge environment with all of its contrast and detail. You like bringing your new world into focus. Are you appreciating the variety that helps you to choose? And do you realize the importance of your choices? Do you get it? That through those choices, whether they are verbalized or not, are causing an expansion, not just as you see it here in your world, but in the universe at large. In other words, expansion is occurring as a result of your exposure to what you are living and the variety of it here. Expansion throughout the universe is occurring. Do you understand that you are vibrational beings mostly? That's tricky, isn't it? You don't think of yourselves as you think of your radio or your telephone or your television. They truly are electronic mechanisms. You also are a vibrational electronic. And we say electronic because electricity and vibration and energy is the basis of that which you are. You are good at translating it, and we know you see your physicality. And you are so good at acknowledging the physicalness of your being as you use words like complexion and flesh and blood and bone and body. But we want you, as a result of the time that we are together today, to begin acknowledging the vibrational nature that is you. And while you interpret your physicality through your physical senses, you have another sense that centers in your emotional center. You describe it as emotion, and you use a lot of words to describe it. We call that your guidance system, and it is guidance giving you feedback on your vibrational nature. Now, the reason that that is important is because, like any guidance system, it is playing against something. In other words, what's going on where you are is being measured against something else that's going on somewhere else. In other words, and that's being measured against is the larger part of you. And that larger part of you is not physical. That's why it's important that you begin addressing the vibrational, energy, emotional part of you. Because as long as you are using your eyes and your ears and your physical senses to evaluate how you're doing here in this physical environment, you're missing the most important leading edge information that's coming to you in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. In other words, unless you're paying attention to emotions and unless you know what they mean, you are completely missing your own guidance system. And when you are missing your own guidance system, then we understand why you would be so ready to listen to someone else's idea of how you're doing. What does the X-ray say? What does the expert say? What does the government say? What does my mentor say? What does my leader say? What do the masses say? What does public opinion say? What are my peer groups saying? In other words, we understand why you could not be aware of your own guidance system and then attempt, it never works out well at all, to erroneously, it never works out well at all, and foolishly, it never works out well at all, replace your magnificent guidance system that is with you all day, every day, with something far inferior to your own guidance system that is with you every day. We want you, as a result of the time that we're spending together today, to be willing to leave the peanut gallery and all of its opinion about you and about everything else out of your equation, while you begin to put into your awareness the only thing that does matter, which is your awareness of your relationship with the larger part of you, the larger part of you who is vibrational. So unless you're willing to come with us on this vibrational and therefore emotional journey, we've got nothing for you. You in your physical body are an extension of source energy. Source, who is not from source vantage point and source expressing, is not physical like you are. You are physical extensions of that which is source. You are physical, leading edge, creative, genius, creative extensions of that which is source energy. And source energy is vibration, and so are you. But what mixes you up is you say, I don't feel so source-like, and for that matter, I don't feel that energy-like. I'm sort of physical. I'm physical. I can bang into things, my body bruises. I can fall down and skin my knees. I don't understand my vibrational nature. And we say, you will understand your vibrational nature if you will pay attention to your emotions. So here's how it works. Before you came into this body, you were source energy, vibration. And as part of that consciousness, a lot of words, energy, vibration, consciousness, all of this vibrational you knows about this leading edge time-space reality and sends part of that consciousness into these physical bodies that you now claim as you. So as the consciousness came forth into you and you were pronounced alive, you are always alive, but they just didn't know it. There you are, physically focused, source energy in a physical body. But when the doctors examined you, they counted your fingers and toes, but not one of them said, source energy here. Now, they were onto it in some way because they said, this one's alive. And when you croak, they'll pronounce you dead. So they've got the energy part down to the extent that they can tell when there's some in you and they can tell when there isn't. But they really don't understand the full relationship between this source that is you. So here you are, a part of your consciousness, a very small part of the consciousness that is you as source energy came into this physical body. And as that energy comes into this physical body, now there is a relationship between the larger part of you and the physical part of you. These two vibrational energy beings are now having a vibrational relationship, just like a transmitter and a receiver. Just like you set your radio dial in order to receive a particular frequency for a particular broadcast that you want to hear, you have been set to a frequency to receive this broadcast that is coming from who you really are. And when you first get here, your frequencies are so aligned that you are a perfect extension of source energy. Very soon you become exposed to the worrisome mother that you were born to, and you begin the process of being readied for life experience by your parents, who have long before you got here begun, in most cases, to focus upon the troublesome things of life. And they are determined to point every one of them out to you for the purpose of preparing you for guarding yourself against unwanted things. Now, these well-meaning but not wise parents don't realize that in their socialization of you that there is a very big other thing going on, and that is they may be helping you to tune your frequency further and further and further from the frequency of your source. But they're not really worried about that, because as far as they're concerned, they are the source of your guidance. So you hear things like, life isn't just about fun and games, and your inner being is saying, yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. And your parents are saying, and life is not fair, and your inner being is saying, yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. And the universe does not revolve around you, and your inner being is saying, yes it does, yes it does, yes it does. And you cannot have everything you want just because you have been flitting around and have determined that you want it. And your inner being is saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can be or do or have anything that you tune yourself to vibrationally. Now, your well-meaning parents and mentors and teachers who are surrounded by their physical environment have something going on with them that you as a newborn newcomer have not yet picked up along your physical trail. And that is, they have a very severe case in almost every case of what is itis. And what is itis is it's awareness of what is. It's infatuation with the physical details that surround you. It's a determination to just observe, inform, dissect, discover, inform, observe. And all of that is wonderful because you came to do that. You came to sift through the variety in order to come to your own awareness of your own preferences and desires, in order to be a creator, in order to create more out of what is. But in the process of becoming so enamored with what is that you train yourself into what we sincerely and emphatically want to convey to you all here today is a past tense environment. And what we mean by that is, well, we'll just say it plain out. When you're looking at what is, you're looking at old news. Now that's sort of hard to hear when you say, Abraham, how much more current can we be than now? And we say, way more current, because now is that lagging manifestation that is way behind where the larger part of you is as a result of what you've been living here. Now, did we get your attention with that? Do you understand what we mean? We wrote a book a few years ago and gave it the best title ever, Ask and It Is Given. And this is exactly what that story is about. When contrast causes you to ask, vibrationally speaking, it is given immediately, and the larger part of you becomes it. In other words, what we just said to you is the vibrational aspect that you know as you may be sick and may be feeling lousy or may not have enough money and may be lonely, it may be having all of those negative experiences, but the non-physical source energy part of you that has just expanded because of the contrast that you've been living is standing in present tense prosperity and in present tense vitality and in present tense wellness. And in fact, the very reason that you feel the sickness that you feel or the discouragement that you're having is because vibrationally speaking, you're off your beam. Vibrationally speaking, the larger part of you has expanded to a place that you have not become. Do you know that sickness that is rampant on your planet today is rampant on your planet today for one reason and one reason only? Your contrast has caused you to expand, and you haven't figured out how to follow that guidance and follow that signal and take that expansion and be the expanded being that your life has carved out for you. And that's why you feel sick. In other words, instead of following your own guidance, in following your own bliss, in reaching for the better feeling thought, you listen to the peanut gallery. You listen to them as they sift through the contrast and they say, well, those are good people, but those are bad people. And do you know, if anybody can convince you that that person or that segment is bad and you focus upon them as being bad for a while, you'll get so far off your signal because the source within you will not proclaim them as bad that you'll eventually get sick over the separation that one opinion is causing you. When you find evil among those that you live with, or when you find it anywhere, and you focus upon what you perceive as evil, you prevent that which is good from being within you. In other words, there is no source of evil. There's only a source of well-being, because through the contrast that you are all living, you are asking for more. And the source, the larger part of you, the source energy part of all that is collecting the improvement, the best of all, and holding the vibration steady for you so that you can use your emotional guidance to make your claim as quickly as you can on the good that you and others have carved out of this leading edge time-space reality.